Hello, welcome to the channel. If you're here by accident, you're welcome. If you've landed here because you've been here before, you want to find some new content, still you are welcome. I've been asked to redo or recut some of the things I've done previously to make them modern day because the way driving goes, tests and so on, driving instructors, what they can and can't do, it's changing a lot recently as well. So one of the things I was asked to do was put a piece together that said, what could you reasonably expect to happen on lesson number one, your first lesson. Now that's whether it's lesson number one for you per se, like never driven before, or lesson number one with something new, someone new. The thing about this is it's subjective because I am one of 42,000 qualified driving instructors in the UK, and the person you pick or the person you've used might do it differently, completely. And there's no right and there's no wrong. I don't have all the answers here. I know what works. I know why I've had success and I know what makes sense to me. So for those reasons, this is how I would do it. What you might be able to do, even if we're not working together, is use this as a template as to what your expectations could be, what might happen. So here's how lessons would happen. You should never make assumptions, but I'm going to work on the assumption of this, that you and I have exchanged messages. Can you help me? Can you help with lessons? How much do you charge? All that, right? We've done all that. I would have sent you some stuff through WhatsApp, which told you what I charge, how long lessons are, what the criteria is about booking a driving test, with me anyway, or taking a test as well, more importantly perhaps, what times of the day I work, what days of the week I work, all of that. I would have checked your license. I'd have asked you to send me photos of your license, front and back. I would have asked you to send me a license check code, an 8-character check code that only you could generate with your details that only you know. And I would go online and it would tell me all about your license. Some people do that, some people don't bother. Don't know why they wouldn't, but I do. So I know your license is good, I know where you live because you've told me, you've paid for your first lesson. I've sent you reminders, electronic reminders. They go a week before and 3 days before to tell you you've got a lesson. It's a final chance to remember, oh God, yeah, I've got a lesson. I must go to bed early, or I must start work late, or whatever it is you got to do to accommodate. And it also will meet with me anyway, will confirm the start and end locations. That's quite important because the last thing I want to do is turn up and you tell me, oh yeah, by the way, we're finishing 15 miles away, because that ain't going to help the next person. So I'll always try and accommodate, but if I knew in advance, that really helps. So that's why I do it a week before and 3 days before. Also that you're well as well. Certain times of the year, cold, sneezes, flu, the whole shebang. Last thing I want to do is get ill and take a week of people down with me. You know, I work with 24 people a week. I don't need to make 24 households ill. That'd be a bit of a nightmare. So for that reason, I check on health as well. I'll tell you that I'm on my way. You'll get some sort of an ETA message through today. I'll be with you by such and such a time. That'll help you prepare. And then at lesson time, I'll send you a WhatsApp or a text, or both, and say I'm outside ready when you are. Out you come, bringing your license with you and any glasses or contacts. We'll talk outside the car, unless it's raining or horrible, the weather's terrible, whatever. But generally we speak outside the car, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is you just met this person, maybe me, and maybe you don't want to sit that close to him to start with because you want to get a vibe. You want to see if you've got a good feeling. I don't know. The other thing as well is there's things I need to do from a practical point of view, one of which is test your eyesight. So that's easier to do when standing on the pavement. So I will ask to see your license and you'll show me, and I'll look at the back of it to make sure that, for example, your eyesight status is still valid. So what that could mean is we booked lessons in January, right, for August. And then August comes and then I meet you and now you're wearing glasses. But you never told DVLA that when you applied for your license. Now, it's not the end of the world, but we've got to cover that off because they can be weird about it if you pass your test, I mean. When they look at your license, they turn it over, look at the little code on the back and go, oh, hang on, you haven't told us you wear glasses. And if you fail to keep your medical history up to date with the DVLA, I mean, you could be in the soup. So it's an easy thing to fix early on. We don't want to find out on test day that they're going to get grumpy about your license status. I will then talk to you, find out how you're feeling. I'll ask you how you feel about things, how you know, are you nervous, are you worried? I'll ask you what your driving history is. What have you done so far? Where have you been? What did you do? That's your chance to tell me what you've done round and round Tesco's car park, or you've had a million hours somewhere else, whatever it is. Never been in a car before, it don't matter. I'll ask how you're feeling, and I will use some sort of a scaling system. So Let's pick an example. So I'll say to you, how are you feeling today? You worried? Are you stressed? You might go, yeah, I'm really stressed. Can't do a lot with that word. Got to know what that really means. So I might say to you, for example, all right then, okay, so on a scale of 10, if 10 is the most stress you could get, mega stress for you and you can't cope. 0 is you're not stressed, not at all. And say what 5 is, I'm stressed, I know I am, but I'm going to cope, I know I'm okay. Then it gives me some idea where you are on your own scale. And then I might say, how do you want to feel at the end? And you might say, I don't know, I feel like a 7, right? And on the end, I want to feel like a 4. And then we'll go, well, what's got to happen for that to feel true by the end of today? Then you might say, oh, well, yeah, if I can only just do this, if I can reverse into a parking space, or if we don't, the most common one, I hope we don't crash, we don't die. I mean, they say it jokingly, but sometimes they're really fearful of that kind of thing. If I can not forget my indicators, they may have had driving experiences where they're trying to solve a problem for somewhere else. So we'll find out how they want to feel at the end. I'll find out in a kind of simple way. What do you know? What can you do? And I'll test your understanding. So that would mean perhaps you'll tell me you've done 50 hours, right? Possible. Oh yeah, no, I was ready to go on the motorway. Now, I'm not going to take you straight on the motorway because how do I know that you're at that level? You say you are, but how do I know you are? So I would do an assessment drive that gets ever more difficult when I see skill and planning and knowledge and understanding and anticipation and all these things. So that's not to say I don't believe you, but it's responsible to not put someone out of their depth at the start, because you may feel super brave. Oh, you know, I drove once around Asda's car park and I feel like I can go on a dual carriageway. Maybe not. Maybe you live in like a village or something, right? And it's a country lane and a 60 road and it's skinny and horrible and full of potholes. Between there and the training area we've got in mind. So maybe you won't even drive, maybe I will. I'll ask you all this anyway. You might not want to drive right at the start. Some people don't. So I've got to find out what you know, I've got to find out what you did, I've got to find out how you feel, I've got to find out what your ambition is. What do you want to do today? What's your ambition? What would a good lesson look like? You might say, by the end of today, I want to be able to parallel park. That might be a thing, right? And I go, okay, so, you know, what help are you going to want with that then? Well, actually, you know, I've done it loads, so could you just leave me to it? Yeah, all right. Actually, I've never done it before. Could you talk me through it? Could you show me first? So we'll establish what level of help you want. Now, you want full help. That's right. Turn by turn instructions, as it's called. You know, do this, do this. Fine. If you want some help, fine. If you want no help until you make a mistake, some people say, don't help me till I get it wrong. Fine. I'll have to analyse whether that's the right thing to do in the moment, but that's the plan, and we'll work out. We'll try and do that. I might say to you, at the end of the day, what would a good lesson feel like? And you might say, I don't feel stressed, or I can park by myself, or I can get second gear. It doesn't matter necessarily what the task is. I'll always encourage you to have more than one target. So your target could be, what would you say? Oh, by the end of today, I can do a roundabout by myself. Not a bad target, but maybe you haven't had enough practice. So we don't want to hang our hat on just that, because at the end, if you can't do it, you'd be like, So we'll have a secondary or a third target as well. So it could be my primary goal for today. So I want to be able to do a roundabout by myself. Great, all right. But on a secondary level, I would like it that you don't need to tell me once about mirrors and indicators, or mirrors and gear changes or something. So that could be a second level achievement. Because if you only hang your hat on one thing and you don't hit it, it can feel quite deflating. So we're going to set some sort of targets. We might use technology. I might get an app out or a workbook, and you might be a person that writes your plans down. Oh, I just want to write my plan first. I want to parallel park. I want to get to fourth gear, whatever. Some people like to write it. Some people like to app it. Some people put a voice note in WhatsApp. We can do all that. So we've talked about what we're trying to do. We've talked about how you feel. We've talked about what your targets are. You've told me about your experience. We've agreed whether I'm going to drive to where we're going or you're going to drive to where we're going. I've checked your eyesight at a car that's give or take 20 odd meters away, 5 parked cars, give or take. And we'll check your eyesight more than once as we go through your learning journey, so we'll do that too. We will then take off whether I'm driving or you're driving. If I'm driving, I might start playing sort of observation games with you. I might start with, what do you see? You might think, what's he on about? I want you to tell me about things. I see the traffic light, I see the roundabout, I see the speed hump, I see the 20 sign. So it shows me already where you're looking. Are you looking only ahead, or only to the right, or not enough behind, or whatever? So it gives me an idea of what your hazard perception and skills and analysis and road planning and scanning is a phrase you'll find in driving books. It tells me what that's like. I'll have told you as well. We'll have had a discussion at the beginning where I'll tell you things like, for example, um, we're a team, you and me, because it's true, and I'm going to be your co-pilot. It's true. So when you're in charge, when you're at the wheel, you're a pilot, right? And I'm the co-pilot, and you tell me what it is you want in terms of help. And if you get overwhelmed, I'll step in. I will clutch down, I will brake, I will change gear, I'll pull the handbrake, whatever. I'll help you if you want me to. What I can never do for you is accelerate. Only you can do that, and I can only help turn the wheel a bit from where I was at. So I need you to do that. So we'll already establish what help looks like and how much or how little you'll get. So I'll also tell you as well that it don't matter if you make any mistakes today. Some people don't. They think, oh my God, what if? You don't get. I don't care if you make mistakes. I'll say to you something like, I don't care if you got it wrong 100 times. As long as on the 101st try you go, oh, hang on, I can do it now. I'll establish a learning style. I'll ask you how you learn. You might even know. You might say, I'm an activist, I'm a theorist, I'm a pragmatist. You might say I'm hands-on. You might already have some idea of the learning styles. If you've been in education or you've done any research, you will find there's anywhere between 4, supposedly, and 7 learning styles. I use 4. I use Honey and Mumford. VARC is another model. I know you shouldn't pigeonhole people per se, but they kind of block people into 4 learning styles. I'll ask you questions about it. I'll say, I'm a person who learns like this. I'm a person who learns like this, and I'll give you examples, and you will associate with one or the other. So you might go, yeah. I want you to show me first. I want you to tell me. I want a picture. I want you to only tell me after it's gone sideways. I want to read. I want to study. All the reasons and all the kind of quirks that make up your learning style. We'll work that out so that the message you get from me is the one you go, I know what you want. I know what you want. If I'm trying to, for example, show pictures to a theorist, it might not work so much. If I'm trying to talk activists to death at the side of the road, that ain't going to work either. But then neurodivergence comes into this. Your learning style might be, let's not do anything till you've fully explained it and I've explained it back. So we'll work all that out. As you're going, I'll tell you how you're doing. I'll ask you how you're doing. And if you're on track, great. We'll make it harder. If you're not on track, all right, we'll dial it down a bit. So we'll change the flex the lesson. So don't get put off if it needs to go back a step, because that's okay. You want to learn to do it well, and that you can do it every time with no help. That's the end game. We don't want to just keep bouncing forward up to the next level, without really showing we can master the level that's before. We'll get to the end of the session. Maybe I'll drive us back. Maybe you will drive us back. I'll ask you how it went. I'll ask you how you feel. We'll revisit the scales, nervousness, stress, fear, skill, confidence, all these scales. And they'll start to make more sense from there on, because I'm always going to use them. So it gives me a temperature of how you're doing. When we're really working together a while and we're going along the road, you might say to me, "Oh, I'm a stress 7 now, and I'm coming to an 8." So I know that you're sinking, and we can dial it back. I can give you more help, whatever. So you should never feel alone. And only if you say to me, "Please leave me to it, leave me to it, leave me to it," and don't chip in. And only if it's safe, maybe I'll leave you to it. But I don't want you stressing unless you have to. So we will get back to the start point. We will talk about what happened. We will talk about how it went well. What could I do different? What do I now know that I didn't know then? How some skills improved? What are the areas where I really have to focus? How can I be you? How can I go off and get better at doing this? Do I read a book? Do I watch a video? Do I sit and watch mum and dad? Do I sit on the top deck of a bus, for example, on a next journey so I can see the road markings? All of that. Do I play the hazard perception game when I'm in an Uber? How many road signs can I spot in a minute? So we're going to find all the things you can do in between times, because the learning don't just take place when we're in the car. It takes place all the time, really. You're a road user all the time in one form or another. We'll have already set dates in the future, so I don't sit outside your house and go, "Oh, when do you want another one?" Massively unproductive. Because you're going to sit there going, "Can you do Tuesday? Can you do Wednesday? Can you do Friday?" And I'm going, no. Me, I'm busy 4 or 5 months ahead. So you have from me, and so does everybody else, a list of dates and times for a year ahead every week. So we plan it remotely, if you like. So yeah, that's how a lesson will go. I hope it's helpful. I hope that's useful. You could use some of this to prompt or state your case or your intention to the person that's going to teach you. This is what I'd like. I heard these things. I think this could work. I'm not saying I've got all the answers because I haven't, but I've been at this a long while. I get good results and I know what works. I've done a lot of time and study and all this with stress and nerves management, neurodiversity, um, and a bit of psychology, I suppose. So I've got a better idea than some about how we know we're going to manage this process. So I've learned some stuff. If you are someone who's got questions, ask me. You can get me on the contact details on the channel. If you're a trainee driving instructor and you find it helpful, great. If you're a fully qualified instructor and you find it helpful, great. Still, whatever you want, I don't mind. If you think, oh, that's all right, but I think this is better, then get in touch, tell me, because I'm always willing to find another way and do it better. As I said, mine's not the only way, and it might necessarily be the right way, but I will do my very best to make sure it's the best for you. So again, I hope it's helpful. Thank you for watching it all the way to the end. Like and subscribe, because other content will be on here. Show and tell me's, how to check the oil, whatever. Things you might find helpful. Even if we're not working together, the content's on here. What's the other thing? Yes, so on this channel there are 4 tabs: videos, shorts, playlists, and some other thing. Go on the playlist, and there are little, like 2-3 minute max videos that are helpful. What to do with an ambulance? How do you check your tire pressures? What do you do if you put the wrong fuel in the car? What's an MOT? That kind of thing. So you just might find some little nuggets there that make your motoring life easier. So thank you for dropping by. I will see you either next time you're in the car or the next time we're on the channel together. Bye.